let's talk about the Super Bowl halftime shows that you choreographed, starting with Super Bowl 45 in 2011 with the Black Eyed Peas as headliners. What are some of the special considerations and challenges of working on a halftime show?
Let's see, there's the fact that it's going to be the most people watching it that watches one thing at one time in America. Is that a challenge or is that pressure?
Well, both.
And the fact that you have to do it on this football field and roll out a stage that can't be damaged. And sometimes you have to work with up to 1,000 people to choreograph them. It's quite a big feat doing Super Bowls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That performance in particular had all those android dancers and different formations.
Yeah.
Their outfits lit up.
Yeah, and we had to get them all locally. So we had to find like high schools and dance teams and things like that would want to do something like that. So it was over 1,000 people in the field, so it was pretty wild.
How large of a team do you have to teach everyone choreography?
Yeah, normally I have my right-hand man and then my left-hand woman, because she's left-handed, I call her that. But then with that, we just add more people, and then there's other people who know how to wrangle like that level of amount of people up, and there's a whole other team of people that know how to do that. There's a woman who's been doing it for years, KP. She kind of wrangles like all the extra bodies, and then we either film choreography or we go down and teach them in groups. And yeah, so it's a lot of work. A lot of work, but quite rewarding. And yeah, it's a lot of work.
With Super Bowl 45, you became the first Black woman to choreograph the Super Bowl halftime show.
Really?
I believe that's what I read.
Wow.
What did that mean to you?
No,
Finding that out right now.
I didn't even know that. That's wild. I love that. Wonderful. Another door, just kicking it down.
Absolutely. Then you returned to the Super Bowl this past year, 2022, here in LA.
Yes.
It's basically an LA show with the all-stars of West Coast hip hop.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you got involved.
I'm on like a commercial shoot and my phone rings and it's Dr. Dre is like ringing my phone. I'm like, wow, I haven't heard from Dre in a very long time. And then he's like, I'll be up here thinking. And I'm like, yes, Dre, what are you thinking? He's like, I'm thinking about doing the Super Bowl halftime show. And I'm like, tell me more. And he doesn't go out of the house much. He's very comfortable up on his heel. And so when he started describing what it was and how he wanted to roll it out, I was just like, this is going to be amazing. So it was just great I know that music so well. I had worked with all the artists except Eminem. I had worked with each one of them individually. And so, again, it felt like family coming together and everyone was there to support Dre in such a way. And I got to work with Jesse Collins, who I work with a lot on Grammys and BET Awards and stuff. So it really felt like a collective family coming together to figure out how to push this big monster up a hill and make it the most dynamic thing. And so, lots of calls, lots of meetings, lots of edits. Adam Blackstone, who is the music director, is also one of the people that I work with a lot, who creatively we push each other, and we support each other. It really makes working together, like, we both like bring out the best in each other. And if it's just when you're on like that high level, like when everybody is on their A game, the production the creative led by S. Devlin, who is really amazing. It's my first time working with her, but also Bruce Rogers. I had hired him to do one of my Black Eyed Peas tours, and he's a fantastic production designer. And so everybody was on such a high level. So yeah, Super Bowl was, again, a lot of hard work, but so much fun.
And a really special moment when Ray played piano.
Yeah.
Talk about how that came about.
He said he was thinking about like having a moment of piano in it, but he was like, the thought of it just makes me like, what did he say? What was it? The thought of playing piano in front of that many people just makes me so nervous, makes my stomach fall. And I'm like, you feel that? That's fear, and that's good. I'm like, let's go. And so I just explained, like, do you know how many young Black men are going to pick up the piano just from seeing you play those few chords? You got to do it in person. So, yeah.
It's estimated that over 100 million people watched the show.
Mm-hmm.
What did it mean to you to have hip hop front and center at halftime?
It was just dreams come true, really, truly dreams come true. It was definitely what the goal has been all these years.
This was early 2022, so it would have been prep would have been right as the Omicron surge was happening. How did the pandemic impact your work during this period?
I mean, it impacted during everywhere. I mean, even Color Purple, it impacted. I was in the middle of doing Color Purple when I did Oscars and the Super Bowl. I just negotiated with Warner Brothers to take off for Super Bowl because it was already booked. But it was affecting everything in such a way. Because dance is so active too, and it's like, to be in rehearsal, trying to breathe and mask and sweat and do all the things, it was tough, but we pushed through, and everyone was healthy and ended up, all the dancers are so great. Dancers have been working for moments like this their whole life, so when they come, everyone really steps up to the table and makes whatever needs to happen. Yeah, it was a lot of special moments in that one, working with Kendrick again, and he's so dynamic of a performer. Being able to, again, work with Mary. We just sat there and laughed and gossiped all day, caught up with each other's lives. And then Dre is such a creative genius. And so it's fun when you get to work with, people for so long. But also, there's moments of super high stress in those. And when you're attached to finding the solution instead of the actual problem, then you get through it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We all thought it was special. We were in rehearsal. We were like, this feels pretty damn special. But it's not until you let it out into the world do you really see how it just vibrates and And then you're like, whoa. Yeah.
It was definitely highly regarded.
Yeah.
And I think too, because it was in LA in the brand new stadium, the Rams were playing and won.
Everything.
It was just a magical alignment of West Coast LA fabulousness.
When the Rams started winning, I remember hitting Dre and I was like, so what if the Rams actually make it to the Super Bowl? And he just wrote back, that's the dream. And I'm like, got it. Yeah.
One more TV series we wanted to touch on. You grew up watching Soul Train, and then you were the choreographer for American Soul on BET.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about bringing some of those Soul Train performances to life.
Yeah. I mean, I loved watching Soul Train. Saturday mornings, that was it. And I loved just all the incredible artists that would perform on Soul Train, and all the new music you got to discover because it was pre-music videos and things on Soul Train. So it was such a highlight of my life. And so when they were bringing back, or when they were doing American Soul, which was the story of Don Cornelius, it was so exciting to be able to do those classic vintage performances, you know, but add a little twist to them. And what an opportunity. And then I worked in Atlanta for that. And Atlanta has so many incredible dancers, so many, you know, a lot of wonderful actors came in, and we would make them be the artists. It was good. It's kind of like always figuring out who works best where, and like, you know, sometimes if it was a guy group, it's like, why can't they all be dancers? And we give a dancer the ability to get a line, you know, that kind of thing. Always trying to find ways to elevate the dancer as well, you know.
You were also involved. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Mm-mm.
You were involved with the Soul Train Awards for many years, the BET Awards. We've talked about Grammys, Oscars. Just as sort of a general thing, are there particular sets of challenges of working on award shows, particularly live?
Live TV in general is just a tricky one, but exciting because you only get one time to do it, you know, so that when people are working on that level of pressure, then they really pull up.
We wanted to talk about a couple Grammy performances. Kendrick Lamar at the 2016 Grammys. That was The Blacker the Berry and All Right, where he came out shackled in chains. Tell us a little bit about that performance.
Yeah, that was Kendrick's idea, him and his creative genius, Dave Free. They always come with such a message in their performances and their music, you know. So just to be able to help tell that story is so good. But also Kendrick, like, you know that you're with someone who's really anointed and special when you work with him. And so it's really a fun, easy person to vibe with, you know. With Kendrick, we really get each other, and I love working with that man. And it was, you know, the Grammys didn't understand it in the beginning, you know, but like a lot of things with hip hop, it's been quite a disconnect sometimes with how our culture is seen and presented, and what other people kind of expect from it. So Kendrick just is a person who stays so true to who he is, and his art is so evolved and his taste level is so good that we just really do great things together when we come together. That was a really great performance. I loved the mixture of different styles of dance too, with the African dance and the crumping and freestyling and all the hip hop. It was just dope. Yeah.
And tell us about Lil Baby's performance of The Bigger Picture at the 2021 Grammys.
So that was a Grammys that was the first time they had changed the guard and gone with new producers for the Grammys. And so I was brought on as a producer. And again, there was just so much going on in the world with the pandemic and the killing of George Floyd. And he just wanted to also highlight what had happened in his city and highlight what's going on just around him and what his peers are seeing. And so he wrote this great song that over the pandemic had its popularity. And so we decided to kind of remake one of the incidents that happened in Atlanta as one of his performances that we filmed. And that was pre-filmed, and then we just aired it the night of the Grammys. So yeah, bringing a little theatrics as well in the streets, you know.
And really kind of art as activism as well.
Exactly, yeah.
And you received your first Emmy nomination for that Grammy show.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you?
It was great. It was great. I'm like, I can't with you, Emmys. Like, as much work I'm done, I'm like, really? Okay. That wasn't even for choreography. I'm just like, and my first choreography Emmy nomination and only one was Beyonce for Oscars. Yeah. So, but I don't get involved. I don't get like wrapped up in the awards thing. It's all right.
Tell us about that performance though, because that was on the tennis courts. Beautiful.
It was so beautiful, that performance. Again, an idea that came from Beyonce, and after she saw Super Bowl, she was pretty moved and was like, okay, well, it's time for us to work together again. I'm like, yes. But a lot of times she's called on me and I haven't been available. And this time I wasn't available, but the team was like, come on, Fatima, we can figure this out. And I'm like, and I had already turned down doing the Oscars that year, but she pre-taped hers. And because she pre-taped it, I was able to fly home and figure it out. And I was able to mount it in Atlanta with dancers. Then I came to LA and put it on LA dancers. So, you know, it all worked out within the schedule to actually do that performance. And it was so good. I mean, everybody in that yellow with painting the tennis court the way they did and shooting it in Compton was so special as well. Yeah, it was really, you know, she didn't want to move a lot. And so I created this world around her and put these tiers and platforms there to allow for this world to like exist around her, but feel like she was still doing more than she normally does so much. But this was like, we really wanted to pare it down and create this world. So that's what I did. She said it was one of the easiest performances she's ever done in her life. So I was like, let's go.
It was stunning.
Yeah, thank you.
This year, 2023, is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And there were some great celebratory performances at the Grammys and at the BET Awards.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about those two performances?
Yeah. I working on the Grammys for the 50th hip hop. I mean, it was, the Grammys basically let us come on and do our thing. I was second producer for that as well. And along with Jesse Collins, we brought in Amir from the Roots to do the music. And we were just kind of dream team in a way of just, we had long talks of whether it's going to be chronological. It's really tough to try and put in such a big body of work in 10 minutes, so many years, and to honor so many people. It was quite the task, and to work with inside of people's schedules, and it's a lot of organizing for shows like that. It's a lot of artists, a lot of music, a lot of consideration of East Coast, West Coast, South hip hop, lots of conversations of, okay, how do we do this without having 80% of the community mad at us because we can't get them in, So finding all these different ways to acknowledge everybody, make it entertaining. A lot of those artists were people that the CBS audience also don't know, but are pillars in hip hop. And I think the way we arranged it all, it felt really good. And even if you didn't know a person, you still were so thoroughly entertained by their music. So it was a highlight for sure.
So we just have a few sum-up questions now.
Okay.
How do you think choreographing for television has changed since you first started in the industry?
I mean, everything is faster than when I first started out. Even the way we play music is faster. The way dancers catch on to routines is faster. Like everything is just like sped up, So I don't think the way I work is ultimately still the same. It's just everything is sped up. Mm-hmm. It just feels like the whole world is going so fast these days. So that's what I think is the difference.
How do you think opportunities have changed since you first started?
I've just never had a problem, to be honest. I've just never had an area where I felt like I was being discriminated against. Just that's my journey. I've never had that. I've had areas where I wanted to be in, but it just didn't happen yet. And eventually, when it was my turn, it happened, Mm-hmm. So, but of course, the world is completely changing, and so many opportunities are opening up for so many incredible creatives out there to tell their stories. And it's just been amazing to see that, really wonderful.
And how do you think hip hop has changed since you first started?
I mean, it's evolved so much. First of all, it's the most popular music. Then there's a lot of artists who are blending more melodies with their music. Like the music itself has evolved so much. And so with that evolving, so does the art of everything else, And I love its popularity. I love that kids can learn it from their phone. I think it's amazing that there's platforms like TikTok and YouTube and stuff that allow kids to learn how to dance and share dance everywhere they go.
Have you had any mentors throughout your career?
Sylvia Rome is a mentor of mine. Yeah.
Have you been a mentor to others?
Yeah.
Why is that something that's important to you?
I don't think it was necessarily important. It just kind of happened. When you're around me, you're going to like understand and feel the magic of how I create, and you're going to learn and you're going to grow, and then you're going to go off and do your own thing. I play my assistants have gone off to be big choreographers. And so it's wonderful. I love it. And now I'm purposely doing it. But before it was just like, it was something that was kind of just part of being around me, is learning and growing. And then I'd kick you out the nest. Okay, it's time to go. Kind of do your own thing. Why not? You know? So I'm all about making people's dreams come true.
We at the Television Academy have been conducting these oral history interviews for over 25 years now. What do you think is the value of preserving these kinds of behind-the-scenes stories of how television gets made?
Oh, I think it's so important because it's ever-changing, and also with people that are behind the scenes, you rarely get to hear their stories or really get to understand how they work. And when I was researching Michael Peters, I had to go to a guy's house like way out in, I don't know where I was. And he was the only person like carrying and documenting dance and choreographers. Like there was no one else doing it. And I had heard of him and contacted him and sat in his home and watched these videos that other than him documenting that and holding it on and making it accessible to people, I wouldn't have been able to really explore into Michael Peters and Michael Bennett's life. So I think it's history, and it's very important.
What advice would you give to an aspiring choreographer?
To learn your craft and to learn all different styles of dance, it's just about not giving up and keep on creating, even if that creating means like creating it on cousins and family members, or getting a collective of dancers together and just always create. Just keep on creating, because you'll just get better and better and better and better and better, and you know.
What would you say is your, continue.
No, I was gonna say, just stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
What would you say is your proudest career achievement?
My career achievement. I don't know if I've done my proudest career achievement. I don't know. Even though I have to say Color Purple is a masterpiece. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for Color Purple, because I feel like it is me. It's like a combination of all the things that I've done and taken with me and seen and understood and worked on myself and figured out. And it's just like when there's certain times in your life where like the planets and stars all align. And this is one of them. So, but if you ask me that in a couple of years, it probably won't be the Color Purple. It will be, what I have coming up next. So I don't know. I don't even think of it like that. I'm always just like, okay, that was good. Next. Okay, that was okay. Next. I remember doing a job, and I brought my son with me, and I was like, I really liked it. And I turned to him, I was like, what do you think? He was like, I've seen you do better. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I could do better.
As only your son can say.
But I love that. I loved his honesty.
Do you have any career regrets?
No regrets. I don't do regrets. Yeah, we just keep pushing forward.
Is there a dream project that you'd love to do or be involved with?
I can't even say that because it's like they come up and I'm like, oh my God, it'd be a dream to do that. But it wasn't, it wasn't on my radar. But it's like, I'm looking forward to directing my first film, which I have that in the can with Universal. So I'm going to say that. Yes, I'm going to be directing a film and it's my dream to do that. Yes.
Is there anything more you could tell us about that? Or
not yet.
I tried.
Yeah.
And last question is, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
On an island, sipping a pina colada, having some mushrooms.
That sounds amazing.
At around 5.
Some mushroom chocolates. That's what I see myself in 10 years. Yeah. I'm never going to retire. And I want to keep on. I want to slowly go into I think there's a way that you can teach people how to choreograph. I never thought you can teach someone how to choreograph. I thought it was just like innately in them, and that's what. But there's a way to teach, and that's where the director of choreographer comes in. It's like you can direct someone and teach the emotion that you're trying to portray in the moves. You may not have all the vocabulary, but you can help cultivate that with young choreographers that are coming up. So I want to do some of that. Yeah.
And then looking ahead, 100 years from now, how do you want people to look back and remember you?
As the little bitty girl in the hip hop club, just loving the dance. I don't know. How do I want them to remember me? I don't know. I think my body of work will just speak for itself. I'm not really into the celebrity of what I do. I'm into letting the work speak for me. So, yeah.
Cannot thank you enough for your time today, Fatima.
No,
so
no
lovely
problem.
to chat with you
Yeah,
here.
thank you.
All right. That's a wrap.
Thank you.